south towards the African coast. Slave ships like the Witta worked their way south and east around West Africa from modern-day Gambia and Senegal to Nigeria and Gabon, filling their holds with slaves until they had a full load of quote-unquote cargo. Captives might be on board for months waiting for the ship to be filled. And so the Witta has its full cargo, and then it crosses the Atlantic Ocean, drops that cargo off in Cuba, and then she's sailing between Cuba and Florida when this pirate, Black Sam Bellamy, sees her. So Black Sam Bellamy is one of the most prolific pirates in human history. He had come to Cape Cod, and he had fallen in love with this young woman, but he was an unemployed sailor, and her parents wouldn't let her marry him. Her name was Goody Hallett, by the way. Goody Hallett's parents wouldn't let Sam Bellamy marry her. She also, I think, was about 15 years old at the time. And so he goes to the West Indies to make his fortune, and he initially is going to salvage a Spanish galleon that had sunk off the coast of Florida. But by the time he gets there, he's too late. Other people have been there before him, already salvaged all the gold off the shipwreck. And so he turns pirate. And he captures about 40 vessels, right? And he's known as the Prince Pirate, Black Sam Bellamy, because he is very nice to his captives usually. He's the Prince Pirate. And then he comes across the Witta sailing between Florida and Cuba, and he says, that would make a great flagship for my growing flotilla of pirate vessels. And so he pursues the Witta for over a day, 36 hours, and eventually captures her. Spent several days transferring all of his cannons and gold and silks and gems onto the Witta. The Witta is packed with the treasure of almost 40 vessels by the time he's done with this exchange. And so pirate crews were quite ethnically diverse. Here you see a picture of, this is Hendrik Quintar, free African from Holland or Dutch. This is, oh gosh, what's the kid's name? John King, 8-year-old boy, the youngest pirate in world history. And the story about him is that the pirates had captured the boat that him and his mom were on, and he got to see the pirates do their thing for a couple of days as they were unloading the stuff off the boat, and he thought they were really cool. So he insisted that the pirates take him, and when they said, no, you're 8 years old, he said, I'm going to kill myself if you don't take me. And then when his mom protested, he said, I'm going to kill my mom too. And so the pirates wound up taking him. He's the youngest pirate in world history. And then this is Black Sam Bellamy here. And then you can see this gentleman here is John Julian. He was an indigenous American from the Mosquito Coast, which is modern-day Central America, or I think Belize area. So when you had these pirate crews that were ethnically diverse, you had formerly enslaved Africans, free Africans, indigenous Americans from both North America and Central America, and people from a variety of European nations all sailing together. And so here's a table. This is from Black Men Under the Black Flag, and it shows you the percentages of crews that were black. And so here you can see this is Sam Bellamy, under 15% of his crew, African heritage. This picture here, by the way, is a picture of a maroon. Maroons were Africans, enslaved Africans who self-emancipated and fled into the jungles in places like Jamaica, or Haiti, or Suriname. This particular image is from a book about a slave revolt in Suriname, which is a country, former Dutch colony, sits on the north coast of South America. But you can see here, some of these, Edmondson, for example, 40% of his crew, African heritage. Franco, 56%. Thatch, this is actually Blackbeard. His name was Edward Thatch. But better known as Blackbeard. One estimate of his crew, 31% African heritage. Another estimate, 60%. And then, Labouche. This guy, French pirate, another one of those sociopaths, not a very nice guy. His nickname was the Buzzard, Labouche. 50% of his crew, African heritage. So gives you a sense for the ethnic diversity on board these pirate vessels. About 1/4 of the pirates were American, either from the West Indies or North America. A huge majority of the West Indians were linked to the two historic strongholds of piracy, the Bahamas and Jamaica, some from Barbados, Martinique, and Antigua. The North Americans more widely dispersed, greatest number coming from Massachusetts, mostly indigenous Americans from the Boston area, spattering from almost everywhere else, Rhode Island, New York, South Carolina, all sorts of indigenous Americans from different parts of North America. So Black Sam Bellamy, like I said, he's called the Prince Pirate, and because he was usually pretty forgiving to the people he captured. But there's this one incident he captured this merchant captain, and Black Sam Bellamy wants to let the captain have his ship back. He's a nice guy. But the rest of the crew is like, nah, we're not doing that, right? Sorry, Black Sam Bellamy, we're keeping this guy's ship. And so the captain says to Black Sam Bellamy, the merchant captain, he says, are you not really a captain? You can't get your crew to do what you want, right? And so this is what Black Sam Bellamy says to the merchant captain. Damn ye! You are a sneaking puppy. And so are all those who will submit to be governed by the laws which rich men have made for their own security. For the cowardly whelps have not the courage to otherwise defend what they get by their knavery. But damn ye altogether, damn them for a pack of crafty rascals, and you who serve them for a parcel of hen-hearted numbskulls. They vilify, the scoundrels do, when there is only the difference. They rob the poor under the cover of the law, forsooth, and we plunder the rich under the protection of our courage. Here's what Black Sam Bellamy said. So, Black Sam Bellamy, he's got the widow, she's packed with treasure. He's coming up to Maine to careen his vessel. Historians think that he was headed to Richmond Island off the coast of Cape Elizabeth. And so he's got this, his little flotilla, he's got the widow and a couple other boats, and they're coming to careen their boat. And to careen your boat means to scrape the seaweed off of it and to patch any holes that were made by these sea worms that you see here, the Teredo nivalis, which would quickly turn a ship into Swiss cheese. And so, if you had marine growth on your boat, it could slow, still today, right? Slow your boat down. Maybe just a couple knots, right? But that couple of knots of speed could mean the difference between capture and escape. It could mean the difference between capturing a prize and not capturing a prize. And so they would careen their vessels very often. So they're coming up here to, we think, Richmond Island, off the coast of Cape Elizabeth, to careen their vessel. And so they would turn it on its side using pulleys and ropes attached to the mast to expose the hull, and they would scrape all that seaweed off, and they would patch the holes. Once again, it could be the difference between being captured and not being captured. And then, for some unknown reason, Black Sam Bellamy diverts to Cape Cod. They're supposed to be coming up here to careen their boats with the other pirates. He diverts to Cape Cod. Well, the legend is that he was going to get Goody Hallett to make her his pirate queen. Right? And this horrific storm comes up, what we would today call a perfect storm. Right? So you have two lows that combine and form a superstorm, and they're caught off the coast of Cape Cod. And so there's an image there